This is Greg, your instructor for BA 206 Fundamentals of Management, and welcome to my office here at the Sylvania campus of PCC. And what you're about to see is a short video from Chapter 5 on Chapter 5 material outlining some of the topics that I feel are particularly important from this chapter on planning and decision making. So I hope this is helpful, and please sit tight. We'll get started in just a minute. All right, let's start this week by taking a look back at our definition of management. So, what is management? And there are many ways that we could describe and define management. And one way to do that is getting work done through others, getting others to do the work that needs to be done in the business. That's certainly true for management. Another way to define management is working with people, but then also other resources to accomplish the goals of the business. And I think that's also very true. As managers, we need to motivate people, but we have to be concerned about the equipment that we manage, the budgets, the financial resources that we manage, and information as well. We need to manage all those resources in order to accomplish the goals of a business. So in week one, we talked about these four functions of management, and they are planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. And these things happen at the same time, concurrently as a manager's working. And the thought is, and I think this is really true, is if a manager does a good job of these four functions, they can be quite effective as a manager. So let's take a closer look at these four functions of management, just to set the table for what we'll be discussing the rest of the term. Planning is certainly very important, and that is choosing a goal and developing a strategy to achieve that goal. There's a lot that can go into this, a lot of different ways that we can plan. And in chapters 5, 6, and 7, we'll talk about various aspects related to planning. The other function is organizing. And organizing is the vertical and horizontal configuration of departments, the authority we give those departments, and the jobs within the firm. When you think about it, any business is highly organized. There are teams, there are departments, there are divisions. And as managers, we need to think of the optimal way to organize our business, to give authority, to break up work. And so in chapters 9, 10, and 11, we'll be talking about various aspects of how we can organize the business for optimal efficiency and effectiveness. The third function is leading. And when I think of management, this is the first thing that comes to mind. Good managers are good leaders. They're charismatic, they're good talkers, they're inspiring. And that's certainly true with management. Managers in leading is the process of influencing others to achieve group or organizational goals. So in chapters 13, 14, and 15, we'll talk about some of the factors that go into influencing others. How can we be a good leader? How can we motivate them and get them to do the work of the business? Then finally, the fourth function is often overlooked, and that is controlling. As managers, we need to set standards, we need to measure performance for our teams, and when necessary, take corrective action. So what are the ways that we can control effectively? Can it be overdone? Can it be too light? In chapters 16 and 17, we'll look at various ways that we can control activities. So that's it, and so this week we'll get into our first section on planning. All right, well, let's talk a bit about planning, Chapter 5 material. We hear a lot about planning in life. We hear about how the Portland Trail Blazers had a good game plan against the Cleveland Cavaliers, or how a company had a really good business plan, or someone had a good career plan or life plan. So we talk about planning a lot, and certainly planning is a very important aspect of life, and certainly a very important aspect of running a business successfully. So what are some of the benefits of planning? What are some of the pitfalls or problems with planning? And what can we do to plan appropriately as a manager? So let's first talk about some of the benefits of planning. Certainly, planning, whether you're a basketball team or a business, if you plan effectively, you can get intensified effort. Everybody is working harder towards the same goal and putting in more effort if they feel that you're working towards some end. Another benefit of planning is persistence. People tend to persist longer in their efforts if they feel it's part of a plan and that this work is leading somewhere. So persistence of effort is really important as well, and it is a benefit of planning. A very important benefit of planning is also the direction of effort. If we plan effectively and we have plans in place, we are directing everyone's effort towards some end. We don't have people going in different directions. So, similar purpose, similar direction we're moving in if we plan. And planning also leads to creation of task strategies. We can break up big plans into smaller tasks, and this helps people move in the right direction and keep people on the same page. So planning certainly leads to some benefits. There are some pitfalls of planning too, and I'm sure a lot of us have seen those in our work lives. And one of the pitfalls of planning is that it can impede change and prevent or slow adaptation. You might read of some firms that are very careful planners, and to the extent that they overplan, overanalyze, overthink things, it might make them slow to react to changes in their business environment. So that is a problem of planning. It can impede our rate of change in the business. Secondly, planning can create a false sense of certainty. We can begin to think that since we have a plan in place, it must be right and we must be going down the right path. But certainly plans are built on assumptions for the future. And those assumptions, those conditions sometimes change. And as they change, our planning should change as well. Also, another pitfall of planning is the detachment of planners. Oftentimes, planning is done at very high levels of a business, and those that actually do the planning are not aware and knowledgeable of the details of what they are recommending, what they are planning. And that can lead to serious problems. If high level planners don't know the nitty gritty details of what's going on. So an important consideration is that planners should involve those people that are involved in implementing the plans and know the details of the operational plans. So another big part of planning is this process. Making a plan that works, we need to first set goals. We've probably all done that in our lives, and we need to develop some commitment to those goals, get people to buy in and believe in those commitments and get them to work hard to those goals. The third step is developing effective action plans. Deciding who, what, when, and how things will be done is very important. And then as we go through our work in the subsequent months to complete our goals, we need to track progress toward goal achievement, make sure that we're on the right track, and throughout this whole process, maintain flexibility. Again, assumptions change, things change. We need to frequently adapt our plans to the prevailing market conditions that we face. So let's take a break, and we'll come back in just a few minutes and talk about the importance of goals.